Laura slowed her old sedan as it rolled into the CNG station on the edge of town. The place was quiet, almost empty, with only one light buzzing above the pumps. It was late, and she was tired in a way sleep never fully fixed. Her shoulders ached from standing all day at work, and her mind was crowded with worries she never said out loud. In the back seat, her son Ethan slept with his head tilted to one side, his small hands curled around a toy car. Laura glanced at him through the mirror and felt a tight pull in her chest. Everything she did was for him. Every long shift, every skipped meal, every careful decision was made with his safety in mind. She parked near the pump and turned off the engine. The silence felt heavy. She stepped out of the car, holding her purse close, as she walked around to open the fuel cap. The air smelled of gas and dust, and somewhere far off a dog barked once, then stopped. Laura noticed a group of men standing near the convenience store. There were 4 of them, maybe 5. They were loud, laughing too hard, pushing each other around. She tried not to look at them. She had learned that attention could invite trouble. She slid her card into the machine, but it took longer than usual to read. The screen blinked, then froze. Laura sighed quietly, tapping it again. She could feel eyes on her now. She kept her back straight and focused on the screen, pretending she did not hear the laughter shifting in her direction. One of the men said something, his voice sharp and careless. The others laughed. Laura caught a few words and knew they were talking about her. Her hands began to shake, but she forced them still. She would not let them see fear. The card finally worked. Fuel began to flow, slow and loud in the quiet night. Laura stood beside the car, her purse still tight against her side. She thought about the groceries waiting at home, the laundry she still had to do, and the alarm that would ring too early in the morning. She wished she had chosen a different station, one closer to the main road. But gas was cheaper here, and money mattered. It always did. The men started moving closer. Laura heard footsteps behind her and felt her stomach drop. She glanced toward the store window, hoping to see an employee watching, but the inside looked empty. The light flickered once, then steadied. She took a slow breath and reminded herself to stay calm. She had faced hard moments before. She had learned how to survive without help. Still, this felt different. The night felt too open, too quiet, as if no one else existed. In the car, Ethan shifted and made a small sound in his sleep. Laura's heart jumped. She stepped closer to the driver's door, putting herself between the men and her son. She did not know what would happen next, but she knew one thing clearly. She would not run. She would not beg. She would stand right there until the tank was full. And she could drive away. Even if fear sat heavy in her chest, she would not let it win. The pump clicked once, then kept going. The seconds felt long. The laughter behind her grew louder, closer. Laura kept her eyes forward, waiting for the night to pass. Another man spoke louder this time. His words were rude and clear. "Don't touch me," she said. Ethan stirred in the back seat and let out a small cry. Laura froze for half a second. Then she moved fast, placing the nozzle back, slamming the fuel door shut. She opened the driver's door, ready to get in, but one of the men stepped into the space, blocking it. Her stomach dropped. "You're not going anywhere yet," he said. Laura looked at him, then at the others. Her voice shook this time, but she did not look away. "Move," she said. "Now." The men laughed again, louder than before. The night felt like it was closing in. Laura tightened her grip on the door, her mind racing, searching for a way out as fear and anger burned together inside her. Laura did not let go of the car door. Her fingers ached from how tight she held it, but she stayed where she was. The man blocking her way stood too close. She could see the dark look in his eyes, and it made her chest feel tight. "Move," she said again. He laughed and leaned closer. His breath smelled bad. One of the other men stepped forward and stood near the front of the car. Another stayed behind her. Laura knew then that they were not joking anymore. They wanted control. Her mind raced. She thought about shouting, but no one was around. She thought about pushing past him, but he was bigger and stronger. Fear rose up again, heavy and cold. Inside the car, Ethan began to cry. It was not loud at first, just a soft sound, but it cut through Laura like a blade. She turned her head slightly and saw his small face through the window. His eyes were open now, wide and scared. "Mom," he called. Laura's heart broke and hardened at the same time. She stepped fully in front of the open door, blocking his view of the men. She placed one hand on the window, as if that alone could protect him. "It's okay," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Stay in your seat." One of the men laughed again and said the kid should not be out so late. Another said maybe they were doing her a favor. Their words were ugly and sharp. Laura felt something change inside her. The fear was still there, but now there was anger too. Not wild anger, but a hard kind that made her stand taller. "You need to leave," she said. Right now, the man in front of her reached out and grabbed her arm. It was not hard, but it was clear. Laura gasped and pulled back, her heart pounding. The touch burned where his hand had been. "Don't touch me," she said, loud this time. Ethan cried harder. Laura could not hear anything else but that sound. She moved fast and shoved the man's hand away. It surprised him. He took a step back, more shocked than hurt. For a moment, everything stopped. The men looked at each other. The night held its breath, then one of them cursed and stepped forward again. Laura raised her hand, not to hit, but to warn. "I said stop," she said. Her voice carried across the station, sounded stronger than she felt. The light above them flickered, casting long shadows on the ground. The men laughed again, but it was not as loud as before. Something had changed. They were not as sure now. Laura took that moment. She reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. Her hands shook as she lifted it, but she did not hide it. "I'm calling for help," she said. The man in front of her scoffed. "No one's coming." Laura looked him in the eye. "Maybe not," she said. "But I'm not scared of you." That was not fully true. She was scared, but she would not let them see it. She pressed the screen. The phone lit up bright in the dark. Sss. The sound of it connecting felt loud. Her heart raced, but she stayed where she was. The men backed up just a little. Not much, but enough to show doubt. Ethan's crying slowed when he saw his mother standing firm. Laura did not know how this would end. She only knew she would not fall apart. Not here, not now. The men did not rush Laura after she lifted her phone, but they did not leave either. They stood there, watching her, their faces tight with anger. One of them muttered something low. Another kicked a small stone across the ground. The sound scraped through the quiet. Laura kept the phone raised even though no one had answered yet. Her arm shook, but she held it up. She stayed between the men, and the car. Her body felt tired and weak, but her mind stayed sharp. She watched every move they made. Then, from far away, a sound rolled through the night. At first, it was low and steady, like distant thunder. Laura frowned and listened. The men heard it too. One of them turned his head toward the road. The sound grew louder, deeper, engines. Headlights appeared at the edge of the station, bright and wide. One light became two, then four, then many more. The ground seemed to shake as the engines moved closer. The men stepped back without thinking. Their laughter stopped. Their faces changed. Confusion replaced confidence. A line of motorcycles rolled into the station, slow and controlled. They spread out, filling the space around the pumps and the road. The engines stayed running, loud and strong, drowning out everything else. Laura stood frozen, unsure of what she was seeing. The bikes were big and dark. The riders wore heavy jackets and helmets. They moved as one, calm and sure. One by one, the riders shut off their engines. The sudden silence felt heavy. Boots hit the ground. Helmets came off. A tall man stepped forward from the group. His hair was short, his face serious. His eyes moved from the men to Laura, then to the car behind her. He took in everything in one look. "Is there a problem here?" he asked. His voice was calm, but it carried weight. It did not need to be loud. The men looked at each other. One tried to laugh, but it sounded weak. Another said they were just joking. No one stepped closer now. The bikers did not say anything at first. They spread out slowly, forming a loose circle around the area. They did not touch anyone. They did not threaten. They just stood there. Laura felt her legs shake. The fear she had been holding back rushed through her all at once. She took a slow breath and spoke. "They won't let me leave," she said. "My son is in the car." The tall man nodded once. He turned back to the men. His eyes were steady and cold. "You heard her," he said. "Step away." One of the men shook his head and muttered a curse. But his feet moved back. Another raised his hands and said there was no trouble. Their voices sounded small now. The bikers did not move closer, but they did not move away either. Their presence filled the space. The men knew it. Ethan had stopped crying. He watched through the window, quiet and still. Laura lowered her phone slowly. Her hand trembled as she did. She had not realized how tight her chest had been until now. She felt like she could breathe again, just a little.
Ow.
The tall man glanced at her once more. "You okay?" he asked. Laura nodded. Words felt hard to find. She swallowed and nodded again. The men backed away further, their eyes darting. They muttered and turned toward the dark, leaving the station without another word. The bikers stayed until the men were gone. Only then did the night begin to feel normal again. Laura leaned against her car, her strength finally slipping as relief washed over her. The station felt different once the men were gone. The air was still, but no longer heavy. Laura stayed where she was, leaning against her car. Her knees felt weak, and her hands shook as she tried to steady her breath. The fear had not fully left yet. It lingered in her chest, slow and deep. The bikers remained nearby. None of them rushed her. They stood in small groups, watching the road and the dark corners of the station. They moved with care, like people who understood danger and did not take it lightly. The tall man walked closer, stopping a few steps away. He made sure to keep space between them. "They're gone," he said. "You're safe now." Laura nodded. She pressed her lips together, fighting the tight feeling in her throat. "Thank you," she said quietly. He gave a short nod. "My name's Jack, Laura," she replied. Her voice was still shaky. Jack glanced toward the car. "Your kid?" "Yes," she said. "His name is Ethan." Jack smiled slightly, just for a moment. Then his face turned serious again. "Mind if someone checks around the station? Just to be sure?" Laura shook her head. "Please." Two of the bikers walked the edges of the station, shining small lights near the store and behind the pumps. Another stood near the road, watching both directions. Their calm actions helped Laura feel more grounded. One biker with a friendly face stepped closer and looked at the pump. "You're all fueled up," he said. "Want me to put the cap back on?" Laura realized she had forgotten to finish. Her mind had been stuck on the fear. "Yes," she said. "Thank you." He did it quickly and stepped back. "I'm Ben," he said. "You did good standing your ground." Laura looked at him, surprised. She did not feel strong. She felt worn down, but his words stayed with her. Jack looked at her again. "Do you feel okay to drive?" Laura took a breath and checked herself. Her hand still shook, but she could think clearly. "I think so," she said. Jack nodded. "Can wait until you leave." She hesitated. Then she opened the driver's door and leaned inside. "Ethan," she said softly. "It's okay now." Ethan looked at her, his eyes still wide. "Are they gone?" "Yes," Laura said. "They're gone." He nodded and leaned back into his seat. Laura closed the door and stood up again. The bikers returned from checking the area. One of them shook his head. "It's all clear." Jack turned to Laura. "You're not alone out here," he said, "even when it feels like it." Laura felt tears sting in her eyes, but she blinked them away. She did not want to cry. "Not now. Thank you for coming," she said. "I don't know what would have happened." Jack shrugged slightly. "We were passing through. Wrong place for them to act like that." Laura nodded. She believed him. But it felt like more than luck. She took one last look at the quiet station. A few minutes ago, it had felt like a trap. Now it felt open again. Laura got into the car and started the engine. The sound felt steady and real. She rolled down the window and looked at Jack and the others. "Thank you," she said again. Jack raised his hand in a small wave. "Drive safe." Laura pulled out slowly, her heart still racing but stronger now. In the mirror, she saw the biker standing there until she reached the road. Only then did she realize how close she had been to breaking, and how close she had come to holding on.